the new information that we shared in the Telegram group, I kind of went back and so if you want to know that information, join the Telegram group. But it made me pick this book up again, this scroll from the Master Teacher. He put this out in around 1997. It's called Is God an Extraterrestrial? Because the latest information that we shared was talking about, you know, what's going on with the drones and the orbs, and which we know to be extraterrestrials, and some of them anyway. And so I went to pick this book up again, and I think I'm going to just read the introduction because, like I said, this was put out in 1997, right? And the title is God an Extraterrestrial? And the first question is God an extraterrestrial? And he says, answer, first, let me make it clear that we are running out of time, and I don't have the time to try and convince you that extraterrestrials are real. I don't have time to convince you that your concept of God is all wrong. I've come here to do a job, and I'm going to do it regardless because time is running out. One thing is for sure. When I told you that no one wins the race in racism, I meant it. What I was trying to tell you is it's not a black or a white thing. It's a grey thing, meaning extraterrestrials, or what they refer to as greys, are under the control of reptilians and have come to this planet and have taken control right under your nose. Principalities in high places know this, but they are not telling you, and they're not going to tell you. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. So when you ask, I'll say, very good question. Is God an extraterrestrial? When you hear the name God, you think of some supreme being up there in the heavens or skies, far away, sitting on a throne, surrounded by a heavenly host, often called angels. This is what religions teach. Psalms 45:6, Matthew 5:3, Quran 2:255. You think of God as an unquestionable, infallible ruler with power to merely wave his hands and things come into existence or are destroyed. Genesis 1:1, Mark 13:19, Quran 2:117. Sounds a lot like a superhero action figure. To me, that is the kind of God that people are worshipping. In biblical times, it's Theos to Christians, Yahweh to the Jews, and Allah to the Muslims, and God to many others. In modern times, it's extraterrestrials. Although I have been saying this for years, now that articles are popping up all over the place, you will begin to believe me. Extraterrestrial beings were responsible for creating humans and most of the Bible characters that mysteriously appear and disappear were extraterrestrials as well. When you take a better look at the scriptures, and that is the Bible of the Christians and the Quran of the Muslims, not merely in their translated form as the King James Version of the Bible or the Yusuf Ali translation of the Quran, and look at the languages Hebrew, Arabic, and Greek, you get a much better understanding of what and who the God of these books is. The Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Quran is. The God of the Muslims sits on a throne in Quran 2:255. He gets angry in the Old Testament. He sits and talks to Moses on a mountain, Mount Sinai. He tells the chosen children of Israel that he is jealous, so you better not have any other gods but me, in Exodus 34:14. In the New Testament, that wonderful place up there that you will be rewarded for doing good here on earth, in biblical times was called heaven. In modern times is Orion. Thus, when you say above in the Old Testament, in Aramaic, Hebrew, the heavens is Shamayim, meaning up there or skies, with a plural ending. When you say the heavens in the New Testament, in the Greek, you get Oranos, meaning the heaven of the skies, or simply Orion skies. When you say heaven in the Ashuric, Syriac, Arabic of the Quran, you say Sama or Samawati. Again, you get clouds or up there, None of them can or do give you the exact place for heaven, except the Greek, the Orion constellation in Job 9:9, 38:31, and Amos 5:8. You think of God as a compassionate, all-loving father figure. In the Hebraic beliefs, he makes himself appear to those selected prophets like Noah and Abraham, and even Abraham's wife Sarah. He comes down from heaven, Genesis 11:5. Predicts physical events such as the birth of Isaac, Genesis 17:19. He sits, Psalms 47:8. He drinks, Genesis 18:3, 3 to 18. Genesis 18:3 to 18 and 7. Genesis 18:3 to 18 and 7. He eats the flesh of cooked dead animals, Genesis 18:8. He told her he would return in 9 months, Genesis 18:14. He even drinks wine and eats flesh of the very creatures of who he has created. Not to mention, he even likes the smell of burning carcasses, disguised under the name sacrifice. He walks in the cool of the day, so he also has physical feelings or senses, Genesis 3:8. He talks, so he has a voice box, Deuteronomy 5:29. He even regrets, as in his image and after his likeness. He even regrets creating human beings, Genesis 6:5 to 6, which are supposedly in his image and after his likeness, Genesis 1:26 to 27. In some cases, he is even satisfied with his own creations. He changes his mind, as in the case of Abraham, when Abraham convinced Almighty God not to destroy the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah on behalf of one righteous person, Genesis 18:23 to 28. He takes land from one nation of people whom he created, such as the Canaanites and the land of Canaan, and gives it to another nation of people like the Israelites, Genesis 12, verse 1 to 5. He parts the waters, as in the case of the Exodus, on behalf of one nation of people whom he created, and to the people of the same family, being the Egyptians, are merely descendants of Mithram, who was Ham's son, the son of Noah, and drowns them, Genesis 14. This being that you are calling God is not emotionally stable enough to be called the supreme creator of the universe. I've got one more little paragraph to read, but shall I take that first? Okay, last little piece and then we're done, yeah? He's too easily swayed, sounds too much like a human to me than the ultimate giver and taker of life. Whether the layman knows it or not, people are no longer going for the religious rhetoric that has been passed down to them from 6,000 years ago in the case of the Old Testament, 2,000 years ago in the case of the New Testament, and 1,400 years ago in the case of the Quran. A time when people didn't know and would believe anything that was thrown at them. Now people have right knowledge and are well aware and have portable computers with online Bibles and dictionary reference where whatever is said to them they can look up on the spot, where they can determine through the rhetoric. You may not like what I'm saying, however, you better take a look around and see what direction the world is heading in. Then ask your religious leaders to explain to you extraterrestrials and their origin. Ask them to explain to you what happens to the dreams and hopes of paradise or heaven if a comet or a meteorite hits the planet Earth and wipe out all existence as we know it. Where is God in that? All right, I read that because, as I said, given the up-to-date information, I went back and touched on that, and it felt like, remember that's from 1997, it felt like it was literally talking about now, and that's our current, and how far back Parnabab Yanun was, breaking down information. So yeah, let's take this call, and then we get back to the questions in the chat.